koi speaker si magi thadokli questions not observations from the audience lairagadi hosi haibi gi baduda hangbiro maru aina hosi sigi topic sida koina khanari si anoba national education policies da tawri si anganwadi singa aduga school singa integrate tawba anganwadi ga school ga si tongan na leiba nataba sem complex da leina ba honaba aduga anganwadi gi angang singsina primary school gi oza sing sadra singa su unna khonaraga interact tawraga makoi gi environment to henna paktok saukthok haleraga akoina foundational oiba magi literacy do phangakpa matamda through formal and the informal means da angang singdu da henna khangan nabagi wakhallonda National Education Policy 2020 da yawduni aduna practical oiba difficulties kharasu haibi kare aduna now I invite questions please from the audience.
Hello sir. I give me M Jadumani sir. I Azad Higher Secondary gi principal ujabani. Sir I hang jening si I quickly like Angalwadi Samnabada I give phone upon the assembly Kairao Pitra Lighting Bilaka Nibasa. Angalwadi Center si Anigumba Lighting Bilakai Mayalaka the Nang Layaba. School use are LP school Sulayaba. Nasi Habada I quickly social welfare ki saitagi adumba school punjalu Angalwadi gi hujiki angang singi si LP school use a piece of punjan bagi palm to tajadaba. Masi punna notice topi go libra, natraga talk horabra. Logeresa.
Thank you very much. Kanone, Aquina, national education policy, Masi. Shishu Tung Torga, school for Hansi mission to Ganda, Quina, school trying to cut on the company. We are Americanos in Biasida. Modity Yahode. Adubo, a quay the live national education policy, Barapumbu, and a pull up to Punina, Machita the Yorkani. I was in Tajawan Tumde.
Hello, sir. Myself, S.G. Tilal Sharma, working as Deputy Secretary, Board of Secondary Education, Manipur. Zanozik Panbikipada, Sarnozik Panbikipada, Koi Anganwadi Center, since to my knowledge, Aina concept of how we follow some Magi play activities, play boiro activities, boiro, Natragana, some other forms of Akwigi Lady Ba. A syllabus and curriculum the higher roy that is very much canotore aduna high river pots this the aquina p activities sing se lady pot sing se a play material piro chart pupiro whatever a laideba my nutritional health pupiro does it follow a yamna canto uniform pattern follow tobra number one question number two question if then Masigi basis say Kaiweda Quina, if I'm remembering correctly, Sile Gi Oiba, Ministry of Social Welfare, and Tokpa activity book 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 activity book Masigi Pose announcing Sita Fangal Labra. Pangan Tribuki, Madam Sinakari, Karikuma, Pangalaga di Fare, Pandraga di Masi, Amugana recycled over the Karikaike. These are questions. Thank you.
Chumioja, Akoye Anganwadi Center the labor Angangsi, Akoina Tatugi, Subdigi, Akoye, Say Omboshi, Mana, we supplementary Shinona, Yumda Katakana, Chapatilla Bijabasin. Say Ome Subdana, Say Turpuleva, Angangse, Masidi, Say Om the Marie Baumgi, activity book categoryama. Marie the Manga Baugi, activity book categoryama. Manga then talk about activity book categoryama. Masi Layepe Hako Shim, Yavasman Kitan look lapa, Masi Omji, she told me. Atopa Aquina, non formal education when Aquina Pibase, Moya Nasari Rhyme Gumba, Pibase, Shumba Yamla Henna Cantobune Mokoshi, Aquina Muji, Kanotogi, Sananing, tying at Amusananing Mugumba, Tolokpa, Adigi Kogi Angang, Kogi, Magi, Mongi, Kogi, Hachangi, Kogi, emergency lap, Shumba class in the Koyamkana, formalities going to wash Mungandava. Activity book ki appoint P BBC. Adago Moko de Koinayam, Kanakatobi Adamina, अखोई अमन अखोई अंगनवाड़ी वर्कर से हेल्पर सिंजा अखोई न ट्रेनिंग पीबसे नर्सरी राइम की पीबसे कोई ट्रेनिंग सेंटर अहम कगले मणिपुर की होइना गवर्नमेंट की अमा प्राइवेट की अनि मशीन अखोई न पीबगांदा राइम खकी पी सकिबसे मखोई न फिल्लेगा अखोई न फिल्ड इंस्पेक्शन चपगांदा अखोई न थेंगनबसे वर्कर हेल्पर से राइम से मोइन तापगांदा याम प्लेफुल वे मोंग ताप कोई ngam याम थेंगनेबा मसीजे अखोइना हयेंग सिगी नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी लागांदा अखोइगी स्कूल दुगी नर्सरी केजी ताकरब मसागे हौजिक्ति लेरो केजी लेरो हारबनिना अदो हाना ट्रेनिंग पीबा प्राइमरी टीचर जे मखोइगी स्पेशलाइजेशन द आई मसिदा पुसिलागदी अखोइना ngam गैप तो मदु आई फब ngumgने ने मसि फाजो थमजेजा
हेलो आई ऑब्जर्वेशन मचा अमता थमजेगे
थमजो तेलपना थमबियो ऑब्जर्वेशन
याम तेन थमजेगे आइनो उजरी बजे अखोइगी लेकाइदा अंगनवाड़ी सेंटर जे अहुम मरी लेयबा अखोइजे आइरांगोइ थोंगे आइबम लेकाइ ओंचांग लेकाइ ने द सेंटर अहुम मरी याम नंगना लेरगा याम नुंगाइतबना अंगांग याम यावददना मोइना अंगांग याम तुइना फाबा लाकपगुंबसु तोइ अदगी मखोइगी पोस्टर अमक पुथोनि ngasi सिदा नमनी अमदंग पुथोनि अदे मथंग दमुनामनी मथंग दमुनामनी सुमाइना मोइसि वाइनरगा पोस्टर अमना करी फोटो द सुम नमगा पंथा द थागटपगी अमक एसुम ऑब्जर्व तोजबने एज अ सिटीजन एज एन अहल मोइना सुम ऑब्जर्व तोजरपदा मसिगुंबसि अखोइगी कयाम लेबगे सिगुंबा अंगनवाड़ी सेंटर सिंगसे अखोइ मणिपुर कयाम लेबगे अदुगा कयाम याम मोइ मैमसी फजना अवा कनो तहुनबा एक्शन प्लान दोन थुपा आंगांसिंग क्रमायन मही तंबगी करिगुंबा खर पीननबगी मेथड से मसी अमतंग आई खंगजनिंगे
मैडम जो हानसु अखोइगी सोशल कनो याम कन यावनि मैडम याम मुन खंगजे मैडम अखोइगी अंगनवाड़ी सेंटर से ngasa हाइजगि समायना अखोइ 11,510 ने मसी अखोइ इंडिविजुअली अखोइना मॉनिटर तब ngamde अखोइ डिपार्टमेंट को अखोइना सेनागदबसि अखोइ लेइबा वर्कर हेल्पर से फंगिबा से सैलरी नते मखोइदि मखोइना फंग तौरिबा सर्विस अखोइना खितन को इन रिकॉग्निशन दे अखोइ ऑनरम पीबनेबा लुपा 2,400 खतने पीजो वर्कर दा हेल्पर न 3,000 नेबा अदु ngasa हाइजगिबो मखोइदि कोइना ट्रेनिंग पीरे नसरी राइमजे सोमने पीबा ऑनरम सिना मादि यामदबने माइगे इंटरेस्ट इन सिस्टम द अदु लेक्तबि कनो जखोइ थेंगनै हाइबा अदु सी नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी दति मोइ थाजो हजिसे स्कूल फहनजी मिशन ने तोबदिगिना कोइ यावगिबा मराइ फफबा अंगनवाड़ी सेंटर जाय स्कूल द नकना ले मोइ खलिसे अखोइ स्कूल लो जाव ओरनी मसी थोयोगन अखोइ स्कूल की टाइमिंग पुंग 3 पुंग 12 म हांग फंगनि गाना हराविबा मोइदि रेगुलर ताबिदि फंनि गाना मा पुसलप यावरिबा जाय ngase जाना हाबि म कंगना कोइ मणिपुर द लेबा पोलिंग स्टेशन सी हाना कोइना ngamamde rationalization tawbudigi koi ngamapni smart tawdana koi anganwadi center jo rationalization tawraba rationalization haibudi ngasai ojana hai lekaita lerakta anganwadi center omri lesam yauri somdana angan koi kilometer 5 kilometer 5 lapda anganwadi center amaka lebi yauri ba smana koi gi political representative leitaba mafamda anganwadi center di population jam leirgasu leitaba yauri ba masise अखोइना ngam डिपार्टमेंट अचोम संगे अखोइ ngमगनि हाइबिसे मसिनदा अखोइना ngमदबा सिजे सी तांजालोगा अखोइ कतौ ngमगनि हाइबिसे मसिने जाइना थमजनिंगस
क्वेश्चन अमता ससोम छाम हंजे
क्वेश्चन लम खतंग
अमम तोबि
आई कई नोटा हंजे
हेलो मिसेस सर स्पीकर ACRT डिपार्टमेंट की हिंदी टीचर्स ट्रेनिंग इंस्टीट्यूट त लेजबने स्पीकर सर दगे न खंजनिंग वफम बना अखोगी हौजी हुजिक प्री एजुकेशन सी अखोगी प्राइमरी दा पुंचन गिदरबनिना हौजी हुजिक लेगदरिबा सार हुजिक तापीबदा गवर्नमेंट रिकॉग्नाइज तौबा सोशल वेलफेयर ने रिकॉग्नाइज तौबा अखोगी ट्रेनिंग सेंटर अहुम लेयना तापीरे अदो हुजिक हुजिक NCT की मतुंगिना अखोगी अर्ली चाइल्डहुड केयर एंड एजुकेशन 2 ईयर की कोर्स सी हौजी हुजिक अखोगी मणिपुर दा हाइतारे गवर्नमेंट के ओबा कोई रिकॉग्निशन फंगा चलाइबा प्राइवेट और गवर्नमेंट की अमता लेबा उजदे अदो हाइरि पोसक्सी करिगुंबा प्राइमरी एजुकेशन से द प्री एजुकेशन से पुसलक तारगदी हुजी हुजी हंदक 150 कोई टीचर्स कौगिबगी सो हाइपेट एडवर्टाइजमेंट अमजु थेंगनजै मदुजु डिप्लोमा इन एलिमेंटरी एजुकेशन नत्रगना B.Ed ना एलिजिबल ओहलगा आफ्टर 3 years की मनुंग से द हारिबा early childhood care and education sina piga dongni haiba question ama khaksu khoina sum ujay do hojiki khangjaningi ba question di haiba early childhood and care education si hojik NEP 2020 la avnina government ki policy na tagana karigumba area khara masi government hangtokna bagi chap chaba plan levirabra na tagana masi kyam thuna pakhat pidage haiba question du speaker sir dagi amtang khangjaningi
akoigi hojik leiriba anganwadi services akoigi masidati akoina ngasai ECC PB kanoche chap chaba koi formula policy leite masidi masi karigino haibada akoigi local need gi akoina hojiki worker helper sina angang sigi interaction de kitang akoina laing mo haibi nataba magi koi koki kanto bise ayamana koise koigi early care koigi education pibase masidi component tor ki manung da service tor component amakatane akoi immunization yauri koi supplementary nutrition yauri akoi health care di yauri smai to dina akoi mayang wi overall loin tor punina akoina kasi kano da ECC katang da focus to ngam da bi kano da ne akoina education katang da focus to kadi new national education policy to kadi koi ngam gani ha aduna ni akoina hayeng koi national education policy se masi akoina chai ahum deina kano bol leiba ahamgi foundation pipitari kano se masi pi matam da graduate teacher primary teacher na mana like tap rhyme gum tap hegi ba hemdi yai adupu angang sigi machi diarrhea narbra masi cholera na ba mali masi malnutrition na ba mali stunting le ba mali kain masi di akoi anganwadi waka helper duna khangbu helkane maram di akoi jing sai service package training club to all apne rhyme people di akoi na kitang sonda bi madu gi gap to ne akoi national education policy da pusla gadi sai infrastructure se hen pagalakpa laikum lom da kanto kitang community propaganda phajabe hengalakpa se hengalakani na koi na thamjarisi
Laibiri bra koi
sir amta last one
last is again kosina
sir ai question lam ta hangjage
pani hangbi
ai gi ming irom musara ni debi Ananda Singh Higher Secondary Academy Angawadi da thamga dawriba angang singje sir 3 to 6 years pogi manungda laiba angang singni aduna hariba oja singse innovative idea se amna leigadabani adu di government gi mai kai dagi karamba makhal gi training se sahi amada kaya rak thaga dage angawadi worker singse loina na hariba angang sing sigi damakta karamba framework curriculum sembira bage habadi karamba makhal gi syllabus no angang khaisida tambi dagri bete
sigi training system je oja si ayam ne education lom da di lai ko si kanu se ada akoi da hojil lai ba kanu da di anu ba koi gi anganwadi worker helper masi se sang pe melap matam da koi na training pi bise koi kanu pi tha ma gi koi training am pi ko aduna akoi nga sa haja gi ba koi gi diet kumba mo mun nat bani na mo gi yamna special oi ba training si masi da koi na leite wa koi yoina adu leite bi kanu se khong cha da bise
kainomta ningsangjage akoigi syllabus kumba semba khotpa haibagi akoigi thambiriba wahangse simadi akoina hojik si national education policy 2020 si fully implement tauba yana bagi road map ama semgatna bagi feedback mayam laujaraga taujari hojik mangmasi implement tauba natri banina syllabus ka loina mag ready da thamaga leibagi potu di leijadri haiba wafam sima mai ai knowledge limited oiram yai ko sigi matang da adugi wafam du da idi khanjai aduna adugumba koi gi syllabus sema bra taurabra haiba gumba gi potu da di khijik tang akoi kitang sondaba hai tare maram di haudri banina hauna bagi pone ba taujari se aduna masi 2025 paugi manung da 35 aduna minimum 2040 paugi manung da NEPC loina mak fully implement tauba yana bagi chahi kun longi manung si da tauna bo honarak banina housing makta hekta syllabus ka loina prepare tauna ready da laibagi potu madi leijadri punjan ba haurakna bagi integrate taurakna bagi primary school ga aduga primary school education ani si integrate taurakanda angang singda foundational literacy numeracy si kumai lakadage makoi de innovative idea kumai pokadage haibasi gi matangda khana naina ba oina leibanina adugumba syllabus ki ka poching du dia koi hojik tawjatri aiba wafam si mai thamjage leibiri ba to
aduga next sir hajiki question dugi makha tarak bo oina question lamta ga supplement ama kata ga haija hoge akoina angawadi worker sai sida aigi mamangi topic ta aigi suggestion oiba some suggestions are already given to the Manipur government. Adugi manung sida aigi social akhoi laikai da locality da leiba angawadi workers singida nakoi training camp da chatli haba sa ithiga chayeba sir. Adoi da ahum lakti chatkadabani hai adubu Manipur government na makhoi si tahi amada ahum lak chatkadaba se amrotang chatlaga tokpa kangbu masu yawi aniraktang chatlaga tokpa su yawi aduna Manipur government gi maikai dagi makhoi gi training se taseng na piri bra natraga pidra bra habado yengsin binaba sar gi maikai da wafam se thamjari sa
madugi kaino do yengsin jage aduga ngasai khoi gi kainona khoi larnet speaker na haibiba matam da su Manipur da leriba anganwadi center se 11,510 ni adu makhoi si fazana well monitor to bangamde main power gi kari gi wat panai na ngasai wapam thambi kre aduna national education policy si fazana paikhala aba matam du da hayeng pot ani si fully integrate tawrak pa matam du da di monitor to ba yana bagi madugi mechanism madugi main power mayam do adu leirakane na thajajai aduna aikoina hawjik leijari si di loophole ama main power leitaba fazana well monitor to da base komai to dana well monitor to ba yaga dage komai to dana well monitor to raga anganwandi sinsi yam fazana functional loina madudagi kanaba phangadagi haiba mayam dugi madugi wakhal londu da sagal laga policy du program oina implement to na bo khona jabani na madugi matam du made ngai biro haiba wapam sima thamjage ko matam tian jabani na sigi discussion sima ai swai da loisan jage thank you all
Thank you.
aduna thank you. So now the second speaker is Ms. Laila Gatfo, Director, Maria Montessori Senior Secondary School, Koyengai. She will speak on an implementation framework consisting of road maps and the annual action plans for implementation of activities covering all the focus areas of foundational learning and the numeracy mission. Now I request to present your talk.
Good afternoon, one and all present here today. May I be allowed to speak in English? Well, this is task 46, task 46 of the Government of Manipur Education S, in which this topic is here on implementation framework consisting of roadmaps and annual action plans for implementation of activities covering all the focus areas of FL and N mission. I will come to that a little later, but I would just like to have an introduction so that we know what is the framework, what is the roadmap that the government is going about. So here, ladies and gentlemen, this is the first time where the foundation is being recognized and introduced to the mainstream. Child-centric. As we all know, that every child has a right to education now. Not only from 6 years of age, but from 3 years of age that they start school. Now, NEP 2020, there is a change. We've heard a lot of speakers saying on the change. I would just like to speak on that part, on the curriculum part, where the foundation is so important. Importance was not given to the foundation of a child. What do we expect when children grow up then? When you build a house, you have a foundation first, and then you can go one floor and again higher and higher. But without proper foundation, I feel it is sad, half-baked, and so on and so forth. So here, in the new structure, it is 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4, and I'm going to touch only the 5s, that is from 3 years to 8 years. For the first time again, it is the first time again that an early childhood care and education, our teachers are going to be qualified and they are going to be professional. So now we leave things to these professionals who will take part or who will work with our 3 years to 8 years. Now it has been said that about over 80% of the child's cognitive brain development happens before the age of 6. And it is so important that the age from till 6 is what takes place with the brain development. Dr. Maria Montessori says that the child's brain is like a sponge. She calls it the absorbent mind, the period of life when man's intelligence is at its greatest. Mahatma Gandhi too says that education, he means making of a man. So this is all foundation. Now we may say that there was some, just now we heard a few asking questions on ECCE. Well, the ECCE, or the Early Childhood Care and Education, it is not, only about rhymes and alphabets and numbers and songs. It is not all that about. Each topic, if you have English, if you have alphabet, you must know how to teach alphabet. Sounds. It is not ABCD only anymore. It is sounds. How they are being put together. Numbers. What is the meaning of numbers? What is the meaning of 1 and what is the meaning of 2? They are all in a sing-song manner. When it is in a sing-song manner, the child starts getting to know it also. Now, that is there. When they do craft, or when they do any kind of painting or drawing. Now, these are all in man, and we have to learn it. Craft, we have later on in life, it comes into use. The music, it's an important and a most loving tool to teach a child anything that you want to teach. So now when these ECCE are going to take part in implementing this or teaching them this, please remember, their focus is on social skills, sensitivity, good behavior, ethics, courtesy. All these are in the classroom when they are playing. It cannot be a chaotic. All discipline, everything has to be discipline. When you see a child, when the child is playing, please remember, the child is at her work. She is working. She's not only playing. Now, again coming to that, it says here, child at this, all children we take for granted that they're all okay, they're all fine. But there may be some children who are, unwell and who are hungry. So these kind of areas also have to be looked into. So please remember that the ECCE will only attain maximum when we have a prepared environment for these kind of children. And here the new NEP says that language, it's going to be bilingual now. You can teach a child in the language that he or she is, comfortable with. So now, let me just come to the roadmap. I'm taking a little bit fast because there is, lack of time. So that my humbly suggestions to the government would be is, in the roadmap, we have to recruit teachers and train them. And this is immediately. We've already started work. And to implement, train the teachers in the curriculum, in the pedagogy of ECCE and foundation, literacy, and numeracy. Use of technology is the in thing now after the COVID. Also, health indicators. What? Children, again, come to that. Now here, do you think that it's only the teachers who are going to can do this? All these who are going to get recruitment. I would place my humble suggestions that we can even volunteers, those who are in very far-flung areas, we can have volunteers. And who will be those volunteers? They will be the college, the university students, hands-on. Now, NEP 2020 says experiential learning, so hands-on. Even the senior student. Here, I could suggest that reach one, teach one. I said teach one, reach one. So you, in your locality, or in your club, or around, we can use this formula of reach one, teach one. Now, my second year would be I would again want a specialized teacher training. Now, these specialized teacher training is, we have to do a lot of research on how the first year has come up and look into the loopholes and look into where the strength and the weakness. Now, we teachers, okay, we love to be recognized. So again, this suggestion, my roadmap would be to get good teachers, for them to give their 100%, we have to recognize them and also reward them. So this will be 100% motivation of teachers, and not only it is only once a year. It has to be time and again, and if you have heard something about Miss X or Mr. X, he or she should be awarded immediately so that he feels nice, and also his colleagues and others who knows about it will give them a boost. My other suggestion would be enrichment activities. Okay? It is, always bored in class, lecture, all the while it's so boring. One teacher finishes, another one comes and all that. So I would love, if it is enrichment activities, they go for outdoor activities, they go for field trips, they go butterfly hunting, or they go to the paddy fields and learn what is it. My other suggestion would be book promotion. Reading is so very important in life. Yes. Last but not the least, very important, consolidated approach of the government departments. I want the social welfare, education, the social welfare, medical, and school education to work together to enhance mental and physical scholastic needs of the children. And last but not the least would be the opening of teacher training centers strictly for ECCE. And last, infrastructure building so that the place would be a happy learning and a happy school for the smaller ones. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Laila Gatfo, for your nice presentation. So now I request Ms. Amrita Naurem, Director Shisu Nisa-Niketan Kwaketel Mayaikoi. So now I request Ms. Amrita Naurem to present his viewpoints and opinions.
Good afternoon to all the respected dignitaries of the Department of Education, Government of Manipur, all esteemed members of the panel discussion on NEP 2020, moderator sir, amasung tinbiriba mayambu kurunjari. The National Policy 2020 is indeed an exciting proposal for a historic milestone for transformation in education. The policy has come out at a time when the schools are adapting to societal change and expectation by transforming themselves in role and identity using technology. So thank you for giving me this privilege and honor to be part of the platform. John Dewey said, "You cannot teach today the same way you did yesterday to prepare students for tomorrow." It is time we ponder over the fact that what we learned 20 years ago is not going to equip our children 20 years from now. Hence, the success of the policy will depend on the understanding, training, and embracing of the document in its true spirit. Therefore, it certainly calls for a systemic preparedness for transition in a shift of such magnitude. Learning continues. We have much to learn from a small school with less resources as from a large school with several resources. All we need is an openness to learning. By courtesy of being a master trainer for CBSE myself, I would like to share that in March 2019, in the backdrop to face the challenges of the technology-driven modern era in the area of school education, the CBSE board came out with the policy framework for its affiliated schools to share, cooperate, and learn from each other by forming groups of 4 to 6 neighborhood schools for collaborative growth. Such group of schools were known as hubs of learning. The main aim of this collaborative partnership between schools is to create an ecosystem for the schools to effectively take up all-round self-improvement. I repeat the word self-improvement of schools. Like the hubs of learning, twinning and pairing of schools is to provide opportunities to identify ideas, approaches, techniques, and methods that followed in visiting a school and which can be shared and serve as inspiration for new initiatives when the children and the school goes back to its parent campus. Currently, twinning and partnership program is still at a nascent stage in many states. However, it is an idea where the intent is to integrate the resources in the public and private sector in the field of education and work in collaboration to complement each other and not to compete. The Education Department of Punjab had already launched twinning of school programs where there is a mutual exchange of activities and learning between students of government schools and private schools. The students of government and private schools will share their learning jointly. The students will be exchanging their schools for a day. One day, the students of the government school will visit the private schools, while on the other, the students of private schools will visit government schools. In this program, 10 students of private and government schools will visit each other's schools. They will share the best practices that are being followed in their respective schools. Who are the target groups? Which classes are we targeting? Students of class 6, 7, and 8 will be under this program and will spend a whole day at the schools they are going to visit. Apart from sharing the best practices being followed in their schools, they will be discussing the art and craft, local culture. Mutual exchange will be followed by a game, folk game, local game of interest by the children. This program aims to develop the sense of brotherhood, harmony, and understanding among the students from diverse backgrounds. Honorable Chief Minister had just mentioned angang sing ukrul dagi angang sing Imphal da purakpa Chandel dagi da chatpiruba or akoida chatluba haibado. Under this program itself, the idea is ching the labor school gi angang sing group of 10 valley da pubira aga 1 week ki oina exposure PBO haibane. Because such kind of initiative is not going to be implementable, or neither will it be understood with just one standalone training. It needs hand-holding of the teachers, it needs hand-holding of the principals for a couple of months to finally make sure that each stakeholder understands what we are moving towards. The Twining Partnership of Schools would provide a common and shared platform with the objectives of sharing culture of support and healthy interdependence among different areas of teaching. Provide an opportunity to share various ideas, instructional and assessment strategies, sharing of resources, promoting solidarity by facilitating joint conduct of various student-staff activities. Sharing the taurani kai sharing taudoino haibagi parameters su khangna chathokpa phai khangdokpa su phai, and though there are many, broadly it has been categorized into 5 categories. The first is academic collaboration. To share information and expertise, observations and reflections on areas such as annual pedagogical plans, curriculum plans, transaction strategies, etc. Making an effort for co-planning of curriculum transaction. Number 2 category is resource sharing, giving input to each other for organizational as well as administrative skills. To share and exchange manpower and infrastructure, be it the labs or the library. Digital collaboration, share e-content and other digital resources, which the government is also doing. Number 3 is professional development of teachers and staff. Teacher training hairaga noma gi tauba, numir humni gi tauba, week long tauba, si NEP gi matang sida implementable or hen ge hai taragadi short term di ay yarakani hai bai thazade, because it is a big policy, a beautiful policy which needs to be understood down to the very last level. As Commissioner Education has said this morning, every line has a meaning, a deeper meaning. So every level would require different sets of training. The 4th would be to build a sense of community to overcome isolation. This is, all schools who are going to partner should be making conscious and dedicated efforts to forge partnership with each other to give and also receive support. The last but most important is systemic reforms. To make NEP 2020 really a vision that we want to go forward and implement, if we want to prepare our students for jobs that are not in existence right now, then systemic reforms will be the solve for successful implementation of the policy. Why? Because NEP talks about long-term value creation of national asset for the society through education to make India a global superpower. Now it talks about every child to be trained creatively and think innovatively, where knowledge, skills, values, and competencies become the 4 aspects. Then obviously, maximum emphasis must be given to capacity building and leadership skills of school leaders and teachers. For such initiative to happen, our State Education Department will have to chalk out a plan and identify suitable partners to ensure that the program is mutually beneficial to both government and private schools. Constituting a district-level core team is recommended. Principals and teachers will have to be trained first for a paradigm shift, to be open to learning, learning to learn, learning to adapt, learning about assessments, and be technologically enabled for them, for you to understand the methods, how creative curriculum is to be transacted in the school environment. It is my strong opinion that we have to look forward to prepare for global citizens. If we have to equip and prepare our children to be global citizens of the future, we need to understand the importance of trainings at various levels of the school education system. The faster the principals and teachers adapt to learning without resistance, the faster our children will be able to connect and communicate with the world and be employment ready for future jobs which are still non-existent today. Mayam punna honna minaradi Manipurda NEP 2020 successful oiba ngamgani haina ai thajai. Isamak education da thawai yauba mi ama oina ngasagi ECC gi matangda haikiba training or aina haziazi haizariba assessment or good practices haibase ai Montessori training 0 to 6 years ki modern Montessori International London dagi tauzare 6 months ki. So the curriculum is already there, we need to share. That's all. I have been to Canada and did a course on just on assessment on the University of Toronto. Whatever they are saying and whatever we are doing, kaim ta manade, kaim ta chanade. I have visited Finland. In all the countries that I have gone, the program was such to visit 3-4 schools. And I'm very proud to say, and I hope this inspires the government school officials also, that in all these good countries, government school ki masing se 70 to 80% oi, private school masing yam de. So if NEP is implemented well in true spirit, I think we have a long way to go. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Amrita Naurem. So the next speaker will be Professor Akwaizam Joy Singh, RIMS.
Respected moderator, sir, respected panelists, Ikai Waja Singh. I some of the competitive based medical education, the Yam Tawa Yojo Mini. Adobo Nasi topic saying on the PV with the Yam Noaje, because I'm also contributing in education. National Education Policy 2020 Clause 2.9 the emphasis the nutrition ga health kada yam pajan pirame aduda natna kanoda 100% immunization haiba yam chawba maga palame then adagi regular health checkup haiba che 2.9 se yam pajana point mari yam pajana clearly mention tobe ꯑꯩꯉꯣꯟꯗ ꯄꯤꯕꯤꯕ ꯇꯣꯄꯤꯛꯅ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ how to monitor kamaina monitor tawni health and growth si animak si am interrelated issues ngatani. One is depending on others. Aduda angona PB tracking monitoring and follow up action ni aduga periodic check up kamai tawdege na haibuduni ai yam sang logjori matam su minitra handarabni na. Factors affecting growth and development ki matangda there are many issues. Everything affects growth of a person, development of a person. Although I topic I health and nutrition related topic I focus on again. School style health policies ha dagi leramawni adu 2013 dagi mama ya makhak all pay wani 2014 the adolescent health hapchalakpa adu Ayushman Bharat 2018 April published they only strengthened the already existing Rashtriya Bal Swasthya Karyakram Siga Rashtriya Kishore Swasthya Karyakram ani khaktang amana adolescent gi ni amana 18 years pokte dum goy amana adolescent specific ni second RKSS na adolescent specific ni adubo another point that envisages in this Ayushman Bharat Siddhi health and wellness ambassador teachers as ambassador for health and wellness. 2 teachers from school laina wajiki Ayushman Bharat Siddhi am bhajana palle adu mai mathudu karino after training they will impart health and wellness education to the students akoina doctor na laga mina langa wasibudi oja da train toroga oja masada available ojabuduna hena fani hasi Ayushman Bharat ki April 2018 gi operational guidelines mention to I mamangda I Bal Swasthya Rashtriya Bal Swasthya Karyakram RBSK is Punjab masigi man duty di pokpadi na say try and pan poki manung sida 4 Ds na mo na identify the disease we are not going beyond that adana defects at birth deficiencies diseases childhood diseases ne developmental delay including disability see there 29+1 diseases identified the way masi early identified tor matung da early intervention to si masigi ojiki program sigi RBSK gi achoba program amde another program si masi 2013 da thorokpane 2014 da adolescents ki oba program am thore si Rashtriya Kishore Swasthya Karyakram mahaba ma thore chamna panjarabada adolescent da what is not happening in an adolescent child everything happening adu sidda akoi ai maning dagi haujarakpada non communicable diseases yamna objecti like this parga thabak TV to yang badagi obesity yamna oselakpa hypertensive oselakpa ngang oringeda dagi substance abuse yam common oiba because some their friends are also in that some school khar chalu kana mamang de dendra yam taramba pan masla yam taramba adumba khoisung urakpa and then my age the mi khana ningba yam tuna temperamental change taibane violence to ogumbagi the mental health ke di kanokoi one of the speaker ngang birani aduga kanoge sexual and reproductive health yam important issue mo oselakpa this is not taught properly sima ya important issue oselakpa after all gari thau yaudari gari janba yadabani nutrition is all remain important all throughout adu masigi kanosida Rashtriya Kishore Swasthya Karyakram RKSS for the adolescent Pajana Panje. I know how the Panjakiba RBSK Havasida. Akoi Kadobo no to Vam Canada Sikana said, the government of Indiana Sikatang Hana detector early detect and the tricto in a harmony. I am not talking about overcrowding of the transport vehicles, overcrowding of the schools, non-ability of the drinking water, safe drinking water, non-ability of the hand washing facilities in the toilets. Adu matang da de kan hajer ro adu government na hana piramba koina tawduna leiba potama hana budi ai kanogi website ta national health mission website changi da moi thabuk yam tawrindi yam irami adu school da hanga da almost not done not satisfactory hai tare tawgi toram gane khanje akhoi sam udam na kan ngamjadre aduna defect se moi hana loima identify tawre bar defect na kari no Down syndrome oiba club foot oiba congenital cataract dark aduna blind oiba congenital deafness oiba congenital heart disease maximum surgery Manipura hospital only recognized the way that is only for heart surgery. Sky Hospital, Caesar Hospital, Imphal Health Institute, Omsi, Manipur government, RSBK recognized over hospital Hongkong. Ado Sigi Mayam deficiency dana anemia is quite common. Quite nutrition, quite nutrient processes are kind of quite ahan effects. Anemia is the Kamungame, hemoglobin 1%. Mas growth yielding at the Sihana Kamungamne. Then the vitamin A deficiency very common. Hojikti vitamin A deficiency is an important problem. Night blindness is very hundred. Vitamin deficiency is very common now because nobody is exposed to sunlight now. That has become a disaster now. Although vitamin D another important immunomodulatory in the corona la but the masi we try to avoid corona. One of the extra skeleton effects. Yam kana vedagne. Ado koi the nuksa thuk to upay amta legidre. The severe acute malnutrition goiter. Sima dum koi Himalaya range leibanya koi goiter. So dum common oil. This is the skin diseases. KB se dum still common ori fungal infection common ori. Otaris media se koi kije ke dubai normal de nakung le kunto di napange. Rheumatoid heart disease sing valvular disease mayam thorko doine. Tabak chain bang amoy satpang amoy tabak tobang amoy doine. Adona reactive airway si angang when huijing to makon hui stock so from kangu singse masi ngan le ham maso ultimately they will develop asthma and my hova other dental care is yakuna de yada tinjab ni kan ya tinjab sina chronic infection toroga ultimately it will affect heart, it will affect knee joints, all other joints. Aduna important ka do ko na ya tinja ga na ko na ka do concern oi no and compulsive disorder say epilepsy tori kuting frequency is more means more brain loss. I don't know, memory becomes less and less. That become a problem. IQ becomes lesser and lesser. Go. Aduna altogether very big issues like hearing, vision yauri, vision sida, color vision yauguni, hearing impairment yauguni, motor delay lere, language delay lere, behavior disorder. Autism is very common. Akoina ngasibok dakuna yamba attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Angang ko in general kain mahina biya da akoina ayamana akoina ADHD ne. Some layang lere ayamani autism ne. Autism is very common now all over India also. See include tore. Adubo in some state and in Union Territory the congenital hyperthyroidism. Sickle cell anemia, beta thalassemia common most optional in a 30th and half. Otherwise, for us, for the education department, the medical national health mission, 29 diseases. Then, how often should we check? Has important? Periodic checkup the important way. Although 6 weeks to 6 years, the important way in the otherwise, so 6 to 6 weeks, 6 years, that twice in a year at Anganwadi Center. Who will do it? A mobile health team. Mobile health team seek I kona lakchage. Mobile health team amna yenga dabane. Before 6 weeks study Anganwadi na mayunda chala home chala yenga dabane. As I Anganwadi importance mayam sa heavy gre. I the importance experience kali jade. The school going children 6 to 18 years at least have any goes not once, at least once in a year at government and government added schools. Who will do it? It will be done by the mobile health team. Now, what is the component of the mobile health team? Dr. Ni Yawin Lupa and UPM, fortunately or unfortunately, without any bias net, but are Ayus. And the Ayus Masingam late, we don't appoint more than 12, 14 Ayus doctors in Manipur. Many are working in private sectors. Siktang program Lakani, the ANM Natri staff nurse Amma Organi. Pharmacists moyam satina preferred to but with computer knowledge. Pharmacists found a lab technician, not drug ophthalmic assistant, how could now yaw, but with computer knowledge. I can get nutritional indices single laughing at that. Physical growth what is very simple? What are the simple methods? The height, weight, mid upper arm circumference, head circumference, chest circumference. And very new the young can have to BMI metabolic index, body basal metabolism index. Machine when who follow up to the periodic examination of the half to Regina. Although Ozeki Kadobi happy no na Havadura. Nutritional indices have a Kangba Gale. Kadobi no when weight also Kadobi height only no Kadobi AC we need why we need to know accurate is. Manipur accurate is a problem lady, which is the Krakaba, there are buses chumnakra in Nabahore, otherwise we had problem. aduna mid-arm circumference BMI ka debil lo no and if height ka yung the weight ta di madu acute malnutrition have khangame is yung the height ta maga di madu chronic malnutrition kuire mana adequate nutrition proxy kuire have khangame is yung the weight 100 maga di madu under nutrition his nutrition is under nutrition the mid some left arm circumference on giri machina tai se machine 5 years and above the Kakane, 3 to 5 years, almost 17 Gumadum lay, 5 years above the Amkane, Masishu, it is also, if it is less, all is a wasting, all is a body mass, muscle name, all is a Madu Masi, acute malnutrition, Kamungami, Asagi Basal metabolism index, Nungaibamna, Aquena, depending on what you find, is it underweight, overweight, obesity have to come on a Adana Hujiki, above 530 basal metabolism index is very, very important. Aduga below 5 years, the growth chart still works. Growth chart still works. Okay. So, okay, I'll finish up everything. Okay. So, if the growth chart, if you see the growth chart, if it's going up, you are happy. If it is going flat, it's dangerous. If it is curved downward, it is very, very, very dangerous. Remember this one. So let us come to the monitoring frequency. So bar to up to 5 years, weight is to measure weekly till 1 month. Then after that, weight monthly till 3 years. After that, every 3 months till 5 years. And what we do between 5 and 8 years? Height and the weight, every 6 months, BMI yearly. It is next is also same. 9 to 18 years, height and the weight yearly, and the BMI also yearly. So lastly, this is the last slide. So doctors cannot monitor all the time. Anganwadi workers cannot monitor everything all the time. So it needs involvement of everybody, the individual himself, the parents, the family members, the peers, the school teachers, most important now, the community. These are very important things. So the involvement of all these things are very, very important. Then monitoring, though they said 6 months or 1 year, to my mind, it should be a continuous process. There were schools. I had the opportunity. Many of you must be from Ramapa High School. There were teachers, very good teachers. During the, that they kept checking our nails, they kept checking our dress. We were so happy. Now we realize that what was the importance of that. Okay, so it should be a continuous process. But my emphasis, I want to give emphasis, health card is a must. That must be recorded. Why health card is important? For immunization, for any other thing. Because once you are going abroad, you need to show your immunization status. That is also important. But for all other practical purposes, if you are doing something, that must be recorded. That is for monitoring, that is data. Depending on that, what we find, we'll do tracking. That will follow up. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Zoy. So, the next speaker will be Dr. Sangeeta Yambem, clinical psychologist, and she will speak on framework for identification and the nurturing of gifted children at the elementary and the secondary stages. Now, Dr. Sangeeta Yambem.
Good afternoon, respected panelists and our moderator, and good afternoon to all the teachers present here. My topic se, aigi topic se, gifted children nurture tauba amasung identification tauba gi matangda lakadoini. Gifted children hairaga akhona kaino haibase khangba ma su darkar tai intellectual ability and creativity significantly higher than average se. Si sini akhona gifted children haigadoi se, but including talented student, talented children haibase su akhona khangjan ba ma darkar tai. Exceptional skills ama yauba talented student hairagana and ability in specific area. Music OBI, dance OBI, or arts, any form, the talent yaubasina akoina talented children hainasu khangnai. Ado moise akoina identify tauge hai taragadi elementary school or secondary school da teachers ki role se yam important oi as well as the parents se first teacher oi doini children amagi aduna parents ki report su loba darkar type teachers na. Tests are commonly assessment tools for identification, but si sina khatang akhoi da sole purpose serve taude identify taubagi damakta. So multiple assessment tools se we used both subjective and in objective se used tawi. Teachers na first classroom environment angang ama specially haiba singthoi ba yawe haibase akoina uba se karam kanda uba bhange hai kanda academic performance achievement test kumba adudagi magi overall functioning in school se sida akoina khangbase adum yawi aduna akoina encourage taubiba creativity da aduga divergent thinking out of the box khanhanba some akoigi specific subject oiragadi individual duda adugi tasks to pibiba aduga akoigi